Hi, I'm Gareth Prendergast. I'm the head coach here at RIASA.
How have you found the last 2 years at RIASA?
Enjoyable, in a word. Challenging at times because of the environment that we've been in. Obviously, COVID has had an impact on everything, and it's been no different here. But enjoyable in the main, and even the challenges that we've had and we've faced have, it's not taken away from that enjoyment really. It's a good place to work. It's a good place to be involved in. I've met some really good people, had some great experiences, and I've enjoyed my time here.
What are the main changes that have happened over the last 2 years?
I think the biggest change really is from my understanding has been the implementation of a code of conduct, and obviously each coach has their own ideas in terms of how they want to approach the game. So playing style will be different to the previous coaches that have worked here. I think the key thing for me though has been that implementation of a code of conduct and trying to run the academy as professionally as possible, and as close to those standards as what we'd expect from professional players. The lads have got to get as close to those standards as they can do in essence in this environment. So, how
does your role here at RIASA differ from previous clubs?
I think even my time at Hyde previously had a number of different roles that were that sort of developed year on year. So I think the biggest difference really to my academy role at Hyde was that my academy role had a lot of admin attached to it. So it wasn't just a football specific role. It had a lot of management in there, a lot of education, things that I needed to do as well. So I'd say the biggest change really has just been devoting my time to football specific practices and development rather than having to be involved in other aspects of running the academy. That's really been the biggest change for me personally, I think. And then on top of that, I think back to my first team role at Hyde, and that's working under somebody else. So working under the manager and implementing their playing philosophy and their playing style on the players and helping them do that. Whereas obviously here I've got a little bit more autonomy, a little bit more free rein to then put my stamp on things, I guess, rather than helping somebody else put their stamp on a team.
But can you share your thoughts about the season just gone?
I'd start with that one. I'd start with Kemi, because I think that's really that has to be the priority. The other things that we've done this season in terms of BUCS and in terms of finishing second in the West Riding League, I think that's nice and it's good for the players, but it's not really my job remit. My job remit is to try and get players trying to develop players first of all, and then try and get them into clubs. Obviously the opportunity for Kemi and the fact that we've got 4 boys go from here, might even be 5 boys go from here to Kemi, and those boys are helping Kemi be successful. Touchwood successful so far. I think really that's the highlight of the season for me, and that's the reason why I do the job.
What were the biggest standout moments of the campaign just gone?
Yes, I think the highlight, as I've mentioned already in the last question, really is getting players in at Kemi and those players going in and actually helping Kemi to be successful. I think in terms of the team and the squad this season, the bit that I enjoyed the most really was putting a run together that saw us improve on results from the first half of the season, and that to me is a mark of the work that's been done over. If you look at that over a 12-month period, then then we've improved as that 12 months has gone on. Obviously, the little run that we had at the end of the season where we won 6 out of 7 games shows the pennies dropping a little bit with the boys. It shows they're taking the information on board, and it shows the information that they have taken on board and have performed on is, you know, it's helpful to them, because of, you know, we wouldn't have done that September to December. So the fact that we've been able to go on that run January through to April, that was a highlight for me.
How do you think we're comparing against our competition?
I think in general we've always been competitive as long as I've been here. There's not been many games where I feel we've been totally and utterly outclassed. I think we've been competitive in the majority of games that we've played. There maybe one or two occasions where we weren't fully prepared and haven't really given a good account of ourselves. But the rest of the games, I think we've been competitive in most of them. So in terms of stacking up against sort of opposition in the area, then you know, I think the league positions and results sort of speak for themselves in that sense. That we're as competitive as we can be. Obviously, like you have good days and bad days at the office, same as any other line of work. And on those bad days, generally speaking, we've still managed to grind out results or grind out performances, really. And I think from a football development point of view as well, that's a real positive, that the boys are able to do that, because you know, you can't be at the top of your game every single time you play. So the fact that the lads have managed to dig out results at times and be competitive over a season's work, and probably 18 months worth of work now, is, you know, I think that's testament to them and the hard work that they've put in over that time.
What is your strategy for improving in terms of next season then, as an academy, and you know, as the footballing side as well?
Firstly, at the end of any season, you sit back and you look at what's gone previously, you look at the work, and then make a decision on where you feel that you can make little improvements and increments to try and improve the quality of what you're doing. So we've gone away as a staff and done that. We've had a look at the programme as a whole, had a look at areas where we can make little gains, and hopefully the product that we've got this year coming is better than the product that we offered over the last 2 years. You know, I think we've done a good job, but there are always those little areas where you can make improvements. So one of those areas is more integrated strength and conditioning program, and I think the boys will benefit from that. Another area is a more integrated analysis program where you know, we've done video analysis previously, but it's not been it's not been as frequent as I would have liked. So a more integrated analysis program this year will certainly benefit the boys. There's 2 extra training sessions almost, you know, straight off the bat. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then I think with the players that are coming back to us, looking forward to working on some different systems and different styles of play. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. I think we've done very well over the last 18 months, 2 years, with a particular system and a particular style of play. You know, we're not throwing it out of the window and changing it completely, but making little tweaks and adjustments and additions will help in games where we need to find a different way sometimes. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And obviously at the start of any season, it's exciting. You know, you're coming back, it's a fresh start for everyone, and that's a bit that I look forward to, is getting everyone back in and getting working again.
What should students look forward to in the upcoming season?
Just mentioned there the changes to the programme here. I think that's certainly something that I'm feeling good about and excited about. I think in addition to that, we're touch wood, we're moving into a world that's free of sort of COVID restrictions, and therefore that allows us to do more things as well. So, you know, a full and proper tour coming up next season, certainly something I'm looking forward to. Showcase games. I think the restrictions around getting into clubs will be lifted slightly, and therefore you're able to you're able to perhaps organise showcase games, whereas previously we found that difficult because of the nature of the nature of the world at the time. And another thing I'll be looking forward to is a continuing developing relationship with Kemi. That to me, I think is a real progression route, and another season, another 12 months down the line, another season into the relationship will be further along, and that can be a real positive for the boys as well.
So how can they succeed at RIASA?
First and foremost, really, is attitude, and an attitude to learn, and an attitude to apply themselves. I think I can forgive, and we can forgive the sort of areas of development. That's our job, really, is to find those areas of development, and find ways for players to understand what it is they need to get better at. But without the input of the player, and without the player being receptive to those messages, then we'll find it very, very difficult. So I think attitude really is the top of the list. And if you can fully immerse yourself in what goes on here at the academy in terms of RIASA, and then wider, if you can fully immerse yourself in football, then you're going to give yourself the best possible chance. And that's really top of the list when it comes to what you need to bring with you is a good attitude to learn.
What should incoming players do to prepare themselves to integrate into the programme?
I mean, I think there's things you can do on a number of different fronts to make sure that you either come back or come to RIASA in the best possible shape. One of those fronts really is making sure that physically you're at the best you can be to give yourself the best possible chance to perform. In terms of that physical work, incorporating technical work alongside it, because obviously we place a huge emphasis on that in our training sessions and games, is having players that are technically able to perform the jobs and the roles that we need them to do. And that's techniques in all aspects. That's not just sort of ball mastery techniques. It's techniques in terms of position-specific things. So if you're a centre half, what's your technique of heading it like? What's your technique for your clearances like? If you're a centre forward, your technique where you slap bang in the middle of the goal might be all right, but what are you like when the ball's coming across you from wide areas and things like that? It's techniques that can apply to the game, and build in some kind of physical element into those practices wherever you can. And then I think on top of that, making sure you've had a look at some of the games that we've played from last season. Watch the players that are playing in your position. Watch some of the movements that they're making. Watch some of the things that they're doing on the ball, off the ball, in possession, out of possession, and that'll help give you a grounding really in terms of what to expect when you first get here. And then I think the final thing is obviously watch as much football as you can at as many levels as you can. And there's one thing watching it on TV as well. That's your first point of access. But go and watch live games if there's the opportunity to do so. Go and watch games in the flesh, and watch players in your position. Try and take something from every game you watch.
How can progressing through RIASA into Kemi help a student reach the biggest stage in football?
I think it's the first step into professional environment and professional football. I mean, obviously, the first step really, I think, is what we do here in trying to get people ready. But then moving from here to Kemi in Finland, and that stepping stone into actually being paid to play is, that's another thing entirely. We do everything we possibly can here to make sure that players are ready. But Kemi then's the gateway to other things. Obviously, so far, Kemi's season seems to be going well. As I've said previously, we've managed to contribute with a few players going in there and doing well for the club. And you never know with what might happen. It can be an avenue into something else. So if the boys that are there currently, or boys that are going to be going out there and playing, if they do well, then it's it's a gateway into another club further up the pyramid. Obviously, Kemi aren't there at the minute. We want them to be, and we're doing everything we possibly can to get them back to where they were. But in the meantime, it's a shop window, whether that's in Finland or elsewhere. Looking forward to seeing you all again for the start of the new season. Look after yourselves over the summer, and be prepared for some hard work when you get back.